another guest here today. Welcome to All right, folks, we have another guest here today, which I welcome. His name's Andrew. He's one of the realtors that Danielle had gotten in contact with. And then Danielle's going to tell a little story about how this estate sale kind of blossomed. And that's an interesting story because it's really about relationships. And you never know who you're going to come in contact that has someone who requires this service to be provided. So, and I think that's why Danielle always goes to all these networking events that I see her at. But sometimes it's kind of serendipitous that you meet someone and all of a sudden there's an estate sale opportunity. So Danielle, give us an introduction of Andrew, who's sitting here with us today, who I just met, who kind of also grew up in Delran, in my hometown, which was cool. But Andrew, tell us the process, how you met and how this whole process started.
Sure. So mid-January, this is Andrew. He is a realtor with Weichert Realtors. Andrew reached out to me in mid-January through the referral of another Weichert Realtor, Liz Arking, who is another good friend of mine. Andrew reached out and said that he knew nothing about estate sales, wanted some information on how we work and how we do our business. He had a childhood a friend of his childhood longtime friend, their home was going to go on the market to be sold, and he wanted to know how we could assist with clearing out the contents of the home. So I guess it was about a week or so, a few days later, Christine and I went to the house. We did a consultation. Andrew welcomed us into the home, and we walked around the home. We talked about what was there, and I think you were surprised, I think.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, with a lot of the items that the family had.
Right.
That I told him had value and were definitely good things to sell in an estate sale. I think you were pretty surprised to hear a lot.
Yeah, very much
about
so.
That. So I told him that would be a good fit for a sale. And then I guess it was a couple weeks later, maybe in February.
I think mid-February.
The family came to the home. The family lives out of state, so the family members came to the home to do their sort through of their items, to figure out what items they were taking back to where they live across the country, so they were taking those items back with them. And then all of the items that remained, they left for us to sell in their estate sale. Christine and I went to the home during the time that the family was there a number of times just to kind of give them some guidance as to what to keep, what to throw away. And everything that was left over, we then went in, Christine and I, and we got their home ready for their estate sale. That happened just this past weekend.
So Andrew, you're a realtor. How often does this come up with you? Because people are always selling their house. They're selling their house for a reason, whether they're getting something smaller, they're getting something bigger, or maybe someone passed away within the family. They want to, downsize and do an estate sale. So how important is it for you as a realtor to be in touch with someone like Danielle and a business like Blue Moon?
So that's a really great question. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, backtracking. Tell us your little backstory.
So I've been a full-time agent for 25 years. So I started in my early 20s, and weirdly enough, I'm now in my mid-30s. Time is not really, my math isn't great. As my career has progressed, my clients, we started in the first house, the first condo, the townhouse, the single-family home. Now I'm dealing with the parents.
Right.
And so at this point in time, it's really crucial for me to have this connection with someone that does an estate sale because my age range, our parents are getting older, they're downsizing, some are going to assisted living, we have houses to dispose of and contents. So it's very important. As Danielle said, our mutual friend Liz recommended Danielle, and I had called several other estate sale companies. One didn't call me back, another guy, we kind of played phone tag. So I was able to get in touch with Danielle and Christine, and there was snow on the ground. A lot of snow, and they're like, we could be here, Tuesday at 3.
That was this past year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it, there was snow, and we got out there and, we walked through. And what was really, really interesting and actually beneficial was seeing the contents of the home through their eyes. I grew up in this house with these people, so I was sort of immune to it. It didn't really,
You had a different perspective.
I had a very different perspective. And things that I thought would have zero value and the family thought would have zero value, I was educated that quite the opposite. There was a lot of value to it. So You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And there was a lot I did not know. And through Christine and Danielle, I was educated. And that was really very eye-opening and enlightening.
So this was probably your first time being that involved in some type of an estate sale process.
Correct.
So this is something that going forward, would you think it's a benefit to you as a realtor to
100%.
have someone like Danielle and Blue Moon Estate as a kind of a referral source?
It absolutely is. So for me, time is money. I can hand them the keys to a house. I can trust them. Yep. They're honest. They handled the property or the items in the home like it was their own. They treated the house like it was their own. And that's how I do my business. So that resonates with me. I can say, hey, Danielle, I need you guys to go walk through. What can you do? And she's going to tell me it's going to be this. You're going to sell, generally this is what the price is going to be. And I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And for me, that's a time saver. For my clients, that's taking a headache and weight off their shoulders.
Yep.
And my job as an agent is to lessen the stress of a very stressful situation. So anytime I can partner with someone who's going to help alleviate that load for my clients, I'm all about it.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a really good added value service for you
100%.
as a realtor, because now you're not just selling houses, you're selling a transition. And in essence, that's what you're doing when you're selling a house, because someone's making a transition, whether it's a downsize or in a situation where there's an estate sale. It's good to have someone like Blue Moon and Danielle in your back pocket.
100%.
Because now it makes you look good, because now you're thinking, hey, I'm not only just selling you a house or selling your house, but wherever you're going, you're going to need this service eventually. And then Danielle and Blue Moon pop up and they're ready to go. So that's a great, Danielle, that's a great connection that you have
Absolutely.
with Andrew. And I think if you continue to do work that way, that's going to spread, because I think just in talking to the folks before and now Andrew about, we contacted this estate sale company, no one got back to them, or they just didn't like the feel of this one, and then they always end up with you. That's a good kind of testimonial that you're really doing something special. And sometimes it's not just knocking on doors or finding those elder care lawyers or people that know folks that are downsizing. Sometimes the realtors might be that real trusted, business set that is really in deep with the houses. And like when you list a house, you get to know these people pretty well, because
they become your family for that time period.
Exactly.
Right? And I take ownership of my clients.
Yes.
And Danielle and Christine, they are me, but in a sort of a tangential field. So I'll give you a really quick story. This was my best friend since the second grade, and it was his family home, and it was very hard for me.
Yep.
I grew up hanging out in this house, and we went on trips to Europe to get just so much connection there, and memories attached to things that weren't my childhood home, but it kind of was.
Right.
And I had a very hard time with it. And Christine and Danielle, I can't thank them enough, because they got it. Like, I literally burst into tears in the living room one day. Mm-hmm. And she was like, it's okay. And she got it. And you could see in Danielle's eyes that she understood how special this was of a transaction. It wasn't a transaction. It's a moment.
Yes.
And she was helping facilitate that moment for my best friend's family.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's a gift that's just a great gift.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that. And sometimes when we're dealing with business transactions, and yes, it is a business, sometimes you can't put a price on what you do. You do it because it's important to others. And this is a human business. It's all about humanity here.
Absolutely.
And it makes what you do very important to that human element. And sometimes people sway off that because there's other agendas, but I think what Andrew's saying and what you do provides a valuable, sometimes I don't even want to hear the word service, but a valuable human connection with folks that means so much to them. And I have to say, you do a great job. I'm just learning what's happening here, Danielle. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of what you're doing. And I think, from a standpoint of the real estate side, I think that's a great referral source for you. And that's certainly an industry that we really have to spend some more time and getting you exposure in that industry. So that's going to be the objective of what we're going to do for you. So
Okay.
let that be said, and whether it's on camera or off camera, I mean, that certainly could mean a lot for your business. And because we want people like you out there doing what you do, it because it takes the edge off, because this is a very emotional process and it needs to be done with a lot of hand holding. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So, Andrew, I want to thank you for coming in today.
Thank you
I
for
know
having me.
these things aren't easy, but you did a great job, and I appreciate your time today. And Danielle, thanks again for bringing Andrew in.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank
And then
you.
we'll talk now to Christine.